That's very kind. Thank you very much. I'd like to dedicate this lecture to the memory of George W. Barlow, a long-term faculty member here who recruited me here for my very first job as an extremely junior assistant professor and was my guide and mentor during the time I was here. Can I begin with a little bit of research? The website in the middle there, richarddawkins.net, could I just have a show of hands for the number of people who've been there? Okay. Thank you. All right. That's fine. Thank you very much. Isn't it a remarkable coincidence? Almost everyone has the same religion as their parents. And it always just happens to be the right religion. Religions run in families. If we'd been brought up in ancient Greece, we'd all be worshipping Zeus and Apollo. If we'd been born Vikings, we'd be worshipping Wotan and Thor. How does this come about? Well, of course, through childhood indoctrination. One by one, those ancient belief systems have vanished from the face of the earth, and we seem to get on just fine without them. Zeus with his thunderbolts, Apollo, Wotan, Thor with his hammer, Baal, Mithras, and Amun-Ra, all were once worshipped as gods. People believed in them, prayed to them, sacrificed to them. Children were brought up with them, told of their existence as a matter of undoubted fact. But nowadays, everybody agrees that no matter how sincere those believers undoubtedly were, they were deluded. Every one of those gods was a delusion, and so were countless other gods that human tribes have sincerely believed in all around the world. Some of us just go one god further. My book is called The God Delusion, and I need to make it clear that the God I'm talking about is a personal, intelligent, creative being, like Yahweh, Allah, Baal, Wotan, Zeus, or Lord Krishna. But if by God you mean nature, goodness, the universe, the laws of physics, the spirit of humanity, or Planck's constant, we're going to be talking at cross purposes. An American student asked her professor whether he had a view about me. Sure, he replied, he's positive science is incompatible with religion, but he waxes ecstatic about nature and the universe. To me, that is religion. Well, if that's what you choose to mean by religion, fine, that makes me a very religious man. But if your God is a being who designs universes, listens to prayers, forgives sins, wreaks miracles, reads your thoughts, cares about your welfare or your sex life, and raises you from the dead, then you're unlikely to be satisfied. As the distinguished American physicist Steven Weinberg said, if you want to say that God is energy, then you can find God in a lump of coal. But I would add, don't expect congregations to flock to your church. This is sometimes called pantheistic religion. I call it Einsteinian religion. When Einstein said, did God have a choice in creating the universe, he meant, could the universe have begun in more than one way? God does not play dice was Einstein's poetic way of doubting Heisenberg's indeterminacy principle. Einstein did not believe in God. He did not believe in a personal God. He was irritated when people said that he did. But what did he expect? The hunger to misunderstand should have been palpable to him. Religious physicists, if you meet one, usually turn out to be so only in the Einsteinian sense. They are atheists of a poetic disposition, and so am I. But given the widespread yearning for that great misunderstanding, deliberately to confuse Einsteinian pantheism with supernatural religion is an act of intellectual high treason. Another example of Einsteinian religion, the Indian-American Nobel Prize-winning physicist Subramanian Chandrasekhar said, "This shuddering before the beautiful, this incredible fact that a discovery motivated by a search after the beautiful in mathematics should find its exact replica in nature persuades me to say that beauty is that to which the human mind responds at its deepest and most profound. The American physicist John Wheeler said, "We will grasp the central idea of it all as so simple, so beautiful, so compelling, that we will all say each to the other, 'Oh, how could it have been otherwise? How could we all have been so blind for so long?'" Don't forget, by the way, with all this talk of aesthetic beauty, beauty isn't enough. It must also be true. And that comes, finally, to evidence. Beauty may be a good guide to the stage of science where we put forward hypotheses, but those hypotheses must finally be tested. Carl Sagan said this, How is it that hardly any major religion has looked at science and concluded this is better than we thought? The universe is much bigger than our prophets said, grander, more subtle, more elegant. Instead, they say, no, 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 my God is a little God, and I want him to stay that way. A religion, old or new, that stressed the magnificence of the universe as revealed by modern science might be able to draw forth reserves of reverence and awe hardly tapped by the conventional faiths. Sooner or later, such a religion will emerge. Einsteinian religion, pantheistic religion, does not involve belief in anything supernatural. The pantheistic God doesn't exist, except in a purely poetic sense. Of those people who do believe in a supernatural God, many make a distinction between deism and theism. The deistic God designs the laws of physics and then retires never to be heard from again. Certainly not interested in human affairs. The theistic, interventionist God, there he is, he's parting the Red Sea there. He intervenes in the world, intervenes in human affairs, performs miracles, answers prayers, and all that other list of things that I gave you earlier. There are many people who call themselves agnostic, and I want to clarify this. It's rather a confusing term. I put up here a scale of religiosity from 1 to 7, where 1 is, I know there is a God, and 7 is, I know there is no God, and we've got a scale of intermediate agnostic positions in between. 4 is exactly 50%. Number 4, agnostic, believes that the probability of God existing and not existing is exactly equal. Number 2 is, I don't exactly know there's a God, but I have a very high probability. I believe in a very high probability of there being a God. I'm a de facto theist. I can't know for certain, but I strongly believe in God and live my life on the assumption that he's there. A number 6, at the other end, is somebody who believes there's a very low probability of God existing, but still not quite 0. I'm a de facto atheist. I can't know for certain, but I think God is very improbable, and I live my life on the assumption that he isn't there. I'm a number 6. I'm an agnostic, but with the same level of belief in God as I have belief in fairies or unicorns. Bertrand Russell illustrated this with his parable of the celestial teapot. He pointed out that it is impossible to disprove the hypothesis that there is a china teapot in orbit around Earth, or around the Sun, between the orbits of Earth and Mars. We therefore all have to be agnostic about the teapot theory, but in practice we are all a-teapotists. I want to make it clear that the agnostic position does not, should not, be confused with an exact 50-50 probability position. There are people who quite wrongly and illogically say, you can neither prove nor disprove the existence of God, therefore there's an exactly 50% probability of God existing. It's like